Hey everybody, it's Diddy Pockets from Mtg. We spending fat stacks of Abraham Lincoln, spending 5 and keeping it live. Now, usually when I do this, those are all foils, by the way. I did it for effect, but now I just have foils on the floor. Which actually, that sounds like foils on the floor. Foils on the floor. But anyway, usually when I do this, I do it with a brand new set, what just came out in it. But this time, you guys wanted to get in the Maybach and go way back to new Phyrexia. Now, of course, this opens up the door to do I spend $5 on every set that ever existed. That's going to be kind of fun. And also kind of a lot of money. So, you know, text on screen. I spent $5 on Arabian Nights. What did I get? Nothing. I got a damaged bird maiden. That's the whole video. But today we're setting our sights on new Phyrexia from quite some time ago at this point in Magic history. So can we still find some deals from an older set? Turns out, yeah, we actually can. So let's dive in and find out what we spent this Lincoln on. And I'm your favorite Magic channel's favorite Magic channel. Best believe that the professor go bananas for my deck tech. And we're back. But before we dive in, first of all, like, subscribe, YouTube stuff, whatever. But second of all, a note, a 30-second note on what this series actually is. I got a great comment on Twitter the other day, and I'm not being facetious or anything. I'm not trying to set the person up or anything like that. I actually thought this was a thought-provoking comment. The guy was like, I don't really get this series. You just get a bunch of, like, for $5, you know, it's the same as a booster pack, and you just get a bunch of, like, weird singles or something. And, yeah, that is exactly the point of the series is for, you know, some people it's going to be nostalgic to see some of these cards and what we can actually get for just $5. It's going to put some ideas in some people's heads, either for their commander decks or their cube decks. And for some people, it's going to show them cards they've never seen before and had no idea they even existed. Even if they did play back then, in some cases, I've gotten that in the comment section. So it's a fun little nostalgic walk through memory lane for some and a nice little discovery zone for others. Remember Discovery Zone? You could go and play whack-a-mole. And did anybody else have a Discovery Zone in their town? Was that a thing you guys had? But anyway, this series is all kinds of things for all kinds of people. And it's also about like how you should probably buy singles instead of buying packs. Because for $5, you can get like almost whatever you want some of the time. But anyway, that's all. That's it. That's the whole. I'm off my soapbox now as far as like what this series is. And I probably could have said all that way better, and I'll probably re-adjudicate it later in the future. But for now, this series is fun. It's fun for everybody. Now, the other thing we got to do before we get started is give you them rules, because the rules are important, right? Basically, it's exactly what it sounds like. I can spend $5. But I do have a little bit of leeway because it's kind of hard to hit $5 directly on the head, so I can spend up to $5.25. But once I've hit $5, I can't spend any more money. So again, I can't hit $5.05 and be like, well, I still have 20 cents left. No, I don't actually. So that's the whole rule set for this thing. But let's get started. I gotta say that this was fun for me because this is actually one of the few sets that I wasn't really around for. I've been playing Magic for like 28 years, something like close to 30 at this point, right? Who's counting? But I've been playing Magic for 3/4 of my life, something like that. And there are very few sets that I wasn't playing for, but New Phyrexia is one of them. And even though I know a great deal of the cards from this set, I've never really sat down and taken a look through all of the cards in the thing. So this was kind of neat for me. That said, started with Dismember, one of the more popular cards from the set. That I wasn't even aware was from this set. I just sat down and started looking through cards and I was like, oh, hey, I need you, because I realized don't have a copy of Dismember. And it turns out, as it were, it's kind of a weird twist of fate, the original version of this card is actually like the cheapest version of the card. And there's cooler versions. Like there's a retro frame one from Time Spiral Remastered, which is sick. It's a good looking card. But this is actually at like $2. I think we got it for like $1.43. Yep. I think this was damaged, but they had like 6 damaged copies of the thing. So I figured how damaged could it be? You know what I mean? So we'll see about that once it gets here. But one way or the other, I figured that, $1.43, probably a pretty good deal for a Dismember because it's a card I somehow don't own, and like anyone who ever wants to play black in Commander, which I do, should probably have a copy of Dismember. It's a good card. Probably, if you don't have a copy of Dismember, get yourself one. Then we picked up a copy of Jorkadeen for 30 cents. This guy looks actually pretty cool. I wasn't aware this Jorkadeen existed. Again, I didn't play for this set, so or most of this block really, but yeah, I just thought the Jorkadeen and the newest Phyrexia set all be one was just like some guy. I didn't know he already existed before, but this dude's pretty cool. 5 mana is kind of a lot, but still kind of a dope commander, whether you're doing equipment or you're just doing like artifacts in general, right? I've always liked Metalcraft as an ability, even though I wasn't around for a whole lot of it. But I always like the cut of its jib. I like its haircut. It's a cool looking mechanic. So I think it's not too hard to get 3 artifacts out, and it's kind of nice if they're artifact creatures because then they too get the bonus. It just shouldn't be too hard to make this card like pretty sweet, even for the mana amounts. Nice little Metalcraft thing, and it's a heck of an anthem effect. So sweet guy. Didn't know that he was a guy, but now I'm going to have one. So maybe I'm actually finally going to make a Boros commander deck. I didn't think the day would ever come. Then I picked up a couple of snazzy looking artifacts that, again, I was not aware of. I got an Omen Machine for 75 cents. Is that how much it was? That's exactly how much it was. Close to $1, which, you know, a good chunk of our budget. But how cool does this thing look like? It looks either like super annoying or fun to play with. And I'm not actually sure which one it is, but I'll find out. You know, I guess, you know, get a couple of friends together, throw this on the table and see if they groan or cheer. I'm not actually sure which way it's going to go, but like one way or the other. I think it's kind of neat. Players can't draw cards is a ridiculous line of text. People are probably going to be mad at that specifically, but hey, you can play spells. You can just play your spells, and I'm giving you ramp, sort of, kind of, you know, because it just says put the land on the battlefield. It doesn't count as your drop for the turn. So if you have a land in your hand, you can put that down too. So I'm giving you ramp. I mean, it's good for everybody, right? It's good. It's a nice symmetrical effect. Works. It's kind of hard to build your deck around, so I guess I'm just throwing this in for fun. But that's why I play Magic. I want to have fun. So Omen Machine's 6 mana. It's a lot to get on the table, but it's definitely going to have an effect on the game state. And that's what I like doing. Then we grabbed a Soul Conduit for 55 cents. Nobody ever told me New Phyrexia had all these silly cards. Two players exchange life total. Are you serious, dude? You can exchange life total with someone else, but this commander, you know, like, I got some stuff for the cube this time around. Usually by this point in a video like this, I would have brought up cube like, I don't know, a couple dozen times at this point. It's the first time the words even really come out of my mouth aside from earlier. I have said it. Anyway, like this is yet another just super fun commander card, dude. If you play like 4 people or more, it's like, hey, you over there, Sally and Betsy. Exchange life totals. Hey, Joe and Graham, I guess. I don't know. I am the arbiter of life totals at this table. It just seems like a fun thing to be able to do, even though, again, it's kind of all the mana, but like, I don't care, you know? I want fun stuff that does weird stuff. And like, the set's just kind of full of it. So sweet card here. We're going to move on to the next card, but I feel like I should point out that like right before I started recording this part, Igby, I'm pretty sure Igby farted. I'm almost certain he made like a burp. That was a little noise. I'm pretty sure it came from his back end. Fun. But anyway, I picked up a Slag Fiend while I'm looking at artifact stuff. A lot of artifact stuff in this set, but this guy's awesome. What's funny is he was 30 cents. And so the first couple of times I really looked at him, I thought he was like a common or something, but this guy's a rare. Dude, this little bugger is a rare and he's awesome. First of all, commander. We're talking about commander, man. So like, people are going to have artifacts in their graveyard like all the time, you know, but it's going to be a thing in there, here and there, here every now and again. I'm pretty sure that your opponents are going to contribute in some way to this dude's power toughness. So that's cool. But obviously, you know, you got a bunch of artifacts in your deck, right? Don't you? Then you build your deck, right? So I don't know. This guy's cool. I don't usually love 1-drop creatures in Commander unless they do really awesome stuff. But this is like a 1-mana 6/6, like super, probably easily. So I like him. I think that people are sleeping on him, like Slag Fiend. Don't slag. He's a pretty good dude. Pretty good guy. Then I got some shrines. I got Shrine of Loyal Legions and Shrine of Piercing Vision. I had to really remember what they were called because I'm really just calling them the White Shrine and the Blue Shrine is what I would refer to them as. I think the white one was like 40 cents. Am I getting this right? Yeah, and the blue one was 28 cents. I just want to make sure it all adds up at the end of the video. But in any case, the blue one looks lame, but I actually think it's better than it looks. And then like an artifact, a deck that cares about artifacts, whatever. It could be okay. I mean, after a few turns, it's going to dig you like, I don't know, 4 or 5 cards. That's not better than Impulse. But after a while, you can look at like 7 or 8 cards with this thing. And that's actually kind of not bad selection. It also doesn't literally draw you the card, which is nice. If you're playing Omen Machine and players can't draw cards, I'm telling you, it's coming together. But in any case, the blue one is not super great looking, but I still picked it up because there's something alluring about it to me. I like what it does. But the white one is super great. Like this, it gets a counter every single turn no matter what. But if you're slinging white spells around and stuff, eventually you just pop this thing and out come like 30 dudes. Like it could be pretty easy. It's pretty sweet little sweeper protection too. If your opponent does pull the trigger on that, whatever, Wrath of God or something. Then yeah, you can just like throw 6 little dudes out from this thing, just pop this thing and out come a bunch of boys. So I think this is actually pretty sweet. This is one that I actually like legitimately think that people might be sleeping on. If you're not playing it in kind of an aggressive white commander deck, there may be a spot for it, especially if your deck cares about artifacts or something. So this is actually pretty neat. And even though it doesn't do much the turn it comes down, which is probably why people don't play it, I think that given a few turns, which like you'll get in Commander, right? Then suddenly like it's probably not too hard to get, 5 guys out of this. And then you're eating burgers. And everybody likes that. But then we snagged the Phyrexia's Core for 30 cents. The one non-basic land in the whole set, which is kind of weird by today's standards. There's like 40 non-basics in every set. The 20 duels, they're all common, sure. But back then, this was the only non-basic in the set. And it's kind of cool. Won't make its way into every single commander deck we build, right? But they're definitely kind of eggs-based sort of decks that want to have a critical mass of ways to sack artifacts or put them in the graveyard so we can get our Slag Fiend big. The whole order is synergistic. But anyway, is that a word? Is it synergetic? It's synergistic. The whole order has synergy. And then we picked up a card that like looks super weird, but I've actually had my eye on it for a while. It's Phyrexian Ingester. Yeah, I bought this card. It's 30 cents. This doesn't cost much for a rare either. This is kind of like one of them white creatures, like a Fiend Hunter or a Brutal Cathar. You got a million of these. Annex Sentry. Just pick whichever one you want. But it's like one of those, but it's blue. So it costs 5,000 mana. It costs so much mana to cast this like blue removal spell on a stick. This blue brutal Cathar. We found a name for it. But so it doesn't look great. But in my cube, boom, we finally found a card for the cube. In my cube, I'm always looking for ways for blue to be not so bluey all the time. Not just be like reliant on counter spells and bounce spells and card draw and stuff like that. I like to give blue like weird dimensions in some of my cubes, and I've got a cube that this card could slot right into where blue just does a lot of really weird stuff. I talked about this in the last video where I bought weird blue stuff from my cube. I'm going to continue doing that. Very weird when it comes to blue in my cubes. Because I just don't love counter magic. There is counter magic in my cubes, calm down. But I like for blue to do like weird stuff. And this is definitely a great example of that. Plus, it gets pretty big depending on what it eats. So like, I don't know, it's pretty, in a lot of games of cube, this would be a sweet finisher once you get to certain levels of mana. So I like this. It's actually not a half bad reanimation target in certain cube decks and stuff too. So this I've been wanting to get in my cube for a while. Glad I got it. But we still had a little bit of money to play around with. So I finished off the order with a Lash Ride. It kind of reminds me of Nightmare. And I'm going to be like super 100 with you. I didn't really have a whole lot of other choices. It's like some of the other cards that I wanted were like $2 or $1.50, and we just didn't have that to spend. I didn't want to come down anything on the cart or get rid of anything in the cart. So I decided to go with Lash Ride over a couple of other things that I could have gotten. I got more cards to talk about in this video, but this is the end of the order, and I'm not unhappy with it. I'm really not. Again, if you have like a black deck that cares about artifacts, or even one that doesn't, again, basically kind of a nightmare. That just lives forever. You can just equip it to something else once the living weapon part of it dies or whatever. So, it's sweet. It's sweet. I was looking at other living weapon stuff in this set, like Batter Skull, but that thing's like $5. It's way too much for that thing. So I think we actually got not a terrible deal on the Lash Ride. I could actually see this going into a black deck or two. As you can tell, it is time again for the coffee break. This week on the coffee break, we'll discuss some cards I did not get, but would have liked to have gotten. Either they were out of stock, or they were too expensive, but these are cards that I think are very cool. First of all, and perhaps most importantly, Suture Priest is in this set, and cost only a mere $2. The Phyrexia seems to be the only set that it's ever seen print in, which is unbelievable to me. But if you'd like to pick up a Suture Priest, you can, for only $2, given that it's in stock at your vendor. Up next is Norn's Annex. This is a propaganda effect that's always going to cost you the 3 mana, but nearly any deck can play. whether it's for your cube or for your commander deck. This is a nice little propaganda effect on top of any other propaganda effects you may have. The only problem is that it's $7.25. There is a printing, however, in Phyrexia All-Will-Be-One Commander for just $2.50 if you're interested in picking this card up. Pure Steel Paladin is also in this set. It too is a bit expensive at $7.75, but if you ever plan to build an equipment deck in Commander, this is a premier creature. Aside from that, there's finally Caged Sun, a card that is only $2.75 to do some really cool stuff, and any deck can play it. However, if you are interested in a Caged Sun, you might want to look into the retro frame from Dominaria Remastered, which is only $2.50, a 25-cent discount from the original printing. Thank you for joining us for the coffee break this week. I'll now throw it back to Diddy Pockets, who will finish the video off with the hottest cards from the set. Here I am, rock you like it. Okay, the coffee break's over. Let's finish things off with the most expensive cards from this whole set, the top 5 hottest cards in the whole set. Because now that we're here, we're doing an old set. Probably not going to talk about new Phyrexia too many more times, maybe. While we're here, let's just talk about what the quote-unquote best or most sought-after cards in the set are. Because, it's more info. It's fun. We get to spend more time together. Why not? So the number 1 card in the set, price-wise, is actually Elish Norn. You probably could have figured that out, to be honest. You can get a copy of Mom from $35 to $40, which is kind of a lot. It's the most expensive card in the set, kind of by far, actually. The number 2 card is Phyrexian Obliterator, which costs anywhere between $20 and $30. There's actually a pretty good spread of prices for this card on TCG Player right now, so you might want to wait for it to settle down. I'm just letting you know. It's probably better to get it towards the $20 end, and that's only if you really want to bling out your standard deck. I'm pretty sure that the version of it that just got released in Phyrexia All-Will-Be-One is literally half that price, so maybe get that one instead. Number 3 is Triumph of the Hordes. I'd never heard of this card. I didn't know what this card did. In my life have I never heard of this card, but it's actually sweet. It's a super overrun effect for infect decks, or even decks that aren't infect decks could technically probably take someone by surprise with this. And as a result, it's $15 to $20 for a copy of this thing. Number 4, we're doing 5 of these. Number 4 is Sheoldred. That's right, just all the hits. Just everyone who's expensive in standard is also expensive in new Phyrexia. A copy of this awesome Sheoldred, super cool Sheoldred, is $12 to $16, which is kind of sort of not half bad if you want to make this your commander. Could be worse, But anyway, the last card in this section, I guess, is Karn Liberated. You would expect this to be, top 3 cards of the set price-wise, but no, it's like $13 to $16 to get a copy of Karn Liberated. So I guess technically it is, it's like the exact same price. It's actually slightly higher than Sheoldred when you think about it. Because 13 to 16 is a higher number than 12 to 16. So yeah, switch Sheoldred and Karn. Sheoldred's number 5. Karn's technically number 4, but yeah, so this is an important card, and it's only like $12. Pick up a copy. I don't know why my voice got so high there. Pick up a copy. But anyway, that's the entire video, everyone. Did you stay to the end? Thank you so much. You're my friends. But that's the thing. Let me know down there in the comment section, what videos, what sets you want to see me spend $5 on. And I know, you want to see me spend $10. If enough people say that in the comment section, I'll probably be forced to do it. Although I guess if I had given myself $10 to spend, I still wouldn't have been able to afford even one of the cards I just listed off in that last section. So that's a takeaway. But I feel like now's a good time to reiterate the point from the beginning of the video. I feel like I'll bookend the thing with this because I know how to make a YouTube. So I'm pretty good at it. But I'll say again that the point of the video, the whole series really, is that you can spend very little and kind of get a lot. We got 10 cards today, and some of them kind of look weird when you run through them all. But at the same time, for some people, it's going to remind them that certain cool cards exist that they need for their wacky commander decks. And for other people, it's going to introduce cards to them they've never seen before and get that hamster wheel turning in their kinky little brain they got. And hey, this time it introduced me to a bunch of new cards I didn't even really know existed. I'm really excited to have them coming in the mail. So I'm the one spending the money, and I'm pretty happy with the results. But just let me know if we need to be doing more, I guess. And then do all the YouTube stuff on your way out. Before you hit the lights, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. You know the YouTube spiel by now, but you can watch me play Magic usually not so well, but with some goofy decks over on twitch.tv/SBMTGDev. Or you can throw me a couple bucks every month to help out around here on the patreon.com/SBMTG. Link to all these things down there in the description. But this time, I am actually done with the video. So again, just give me your takes down there in the comments section, and I'll catch you cats later. I'm Dev from the Blaze. Thanks for watching, Wizards. Spread love and be kind.